Hello guys, welcome to my channel techmon.in. In my previous video, I have covered how to create frequent item sets and also to apply or create our association rules using a priori algorithm. In this video, we will learn how to create frequent item sets using FP growth algorithm, which is frequent pattern growth algorithm. Okay, so first let's look at the shortcoming of a priori algorithm. So a priori algorithm to create the frequent item sets, that is to calculate support and confidence, it requires to scan the entire database multiple times. And as we know, our transaction data can be really huge. They can contain millions or even billions of records. Okay, so scanning through all that data is really computationally intensive. So this is where FP growth algorithm comes in. It stores our items or transaction data into a tree-based structure, and to create a tree-based structure, it only requires to scan the entire database twice. Okay, so this gives it a super boost, or it is really efficient as compared to a parallel algorithm. But there's also catch to this. It requires more memory than actually storing the transactions data. Reason for that is, since it stores the data in a tree-based fashion, there are links connecting one node of a tree to another, and that linking cost us some extra overhead of memory. Okay. So before moving on to how to really create frequent item sets, we are going to just look at what I mean by tree data structure. So tree data structure always starts with a root. Okay, so a single element at top or node at top. Okay, then there are multiple branches or nodes coming down from there. So as we can see, in our case, green node is a root node, and from there we have three sub nodes or children to it. Okay, and there could be any number of children a root or node can have. Okay, so as you can see, our second and third nodes or children are also having a sub node. Okay, and there is a branch. So this is a branch starting from a root node and ending at a node. Okay, so this is one branch. This is another branch here. Okay, and this is our third branch. Okay, and as you can see, each branch ends with a node. So this one ending at branch 2, and this one. So these all nodes which are the end nodes of a particular branch are called leaf nodes. Okay, so this is all what we mean by tree data structure. Okay, so let's move on. Next, also just I had already covered this in our previous video, but if somebody is watching this video only and has not watched the previous video, I want to cover this for those. So what do we mean by item set? So in a particular basket or a visit to a store or online shopping, okay, or a cart, what we do, we buy n number of items. Okay, so if a particular set of items have been frequently bought across many baskets or carts or visits, okay, we call them frequent item sets. So for example, as we can see, phone plus phone cover and tempered glass, if they are bought together in many different baskets or carts, then we will call this entire set of items a item set or an item set. Okay, so next uh, let's also let's also look at the support. So what support is a percentage of number of times a particular item was bought divided by total number of basket we have. So for example, in a store, let's say we had in a month or in a year we had 100 total baskets or total shops, okay, and out of those 100 baskets or carts or shops, in let's say 50 of them a particular item like milk was bought, so we will say that support was 50 divided by 100 of 50%, okay. Similarly in our case, which has been highlighted here, the phone. So let's say we had total baskets as 20, and out of those 20 baskets, in 10 baskets phone was bought, so our support is 0.5. So similarly for cover, our support is 0.6. Also, if our denominator is same when we are calculating for all the support for all the items, we can also directly write it as 10, and also we can write this as 12, because okay, so because since our denominator is same for all of them, so it is same if we compare these items with one another, okay. So that is what support is. Next, what do we mean by we have already covered what we mean by frequent item sets. So these are the two properties which are the crucial part of, you know, a priori algorithm. So first is subsets of frequent item sets must be frequent. So for example, as we saw here, we have a frequent item set containing phone cover and tempered class, okay. So if we are calling this a set of frequent item set, then each individual item, that is phone cover and tempered class, should or will always be frequent. So phone in itself will be frequent, phone cover will be frequent, and similarly tempered class will also be or should be frequent, okay. So this is one. Another is for any infrequent item set, all its superset must be infrequent too. So for example, let's say we have three items: phone cover, and tempered class, okay, and we found that tempered class is infrequent, okay. By infrequent we mean that it does not have minimum threshold or minimum support. So as we saw here, if we put our threshold as 11, so our phone does not qualify, so we won't call it as frequent. But phone cover has a support of 12, which is greater than our threshold support of 11, okay, so we will call it as frequent. So let's say our tempered class is infrequent, okay. So any superset or any set which contains tempered class will be infrequent as well. So in our case, if our tempered class is infrequent, then this item set containing phone cover and tempered class will also be infrequent, okay. So these are the two properties using which we expand the item sets in a priori algorithm, okay. So now let's they also apply for FP growth, okay. We look at how. So this is the transaction data which we also use for a priori. We have 7 baskets, and we have mentioned what were the items bought in each one of them. So in basket 1, there are 2 items were bought. First one was milk and second one was bread. And similarly for seventh basket, egg and bread were bought in that, okay. So now what is now we are starting to create our FP growth or apply our FP growth algorithm. So first step in FP growth algorithm is to get the frequency of each item. So as you can see here, we have we take distinct item names: milk, bread, egg, butter, biscuit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you'll see milk, bread, egg, butter, these are all duplicates, okay. So what we do, we list down all the distinct item names, okay, and then we also calculate their frequency by we mean that milk 1, milk 2, milk 3, milk 4, okay. Milk has appeared in 4 baskets, okay, so we write 4 there, okay. Similarly for bread, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bread has been bought in all the 7 baskets, okay. So we have filled 7 here. Okay, so for each item we are calculating its frequency, okay, or the number of time it was bought. So that was the first step. In second step, we just order them based on the uh, by item frequency and in descending order. So as you can see here, we were just listing down the item and its frequency, but here we have also sorted them in descending order or decreasing order. Okay, so we have we can see that our most frequent item is bread and the least frequent items are biscuit and butter. Okay, so that is the second step. Now comes the third step. Now we will start building our tree here, and the first step is to add items in a basket one. So I have mentioned a basket one here, so it contains milk and bread as we saw here. Okay, our basket one here contained milk and bread. Okay, so I've mentioned that, and here also, as you can see, this is the frequency item set which we saw in previous slide. Okay, so I have also added that here, okay, just for reference. So we will be looking at these two things to create a tree. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, tree always has a root. Okay, so in our case, root will be null. Okay, that is, there's no value in that. Okay, now how we are going to add the elements or the nodes? First, we will look at the items that were bought in that basket. We have bread, we have milk. Okay, we have two items in total. Okay, and now how we will be put items? First, we will look at out of these two items which has the highest frequency. Okay, so let's remove. For bread we have 7, or its frequency is 7, and milk we have frequency as 4. Okay, now starting from root, we will start putting the item based on their frequency. So as you can see, first we put bread because it has frequency of 7, then we continue down the path, and next we put the milk item. Okay, as it has, you know, 4 frequency in the total. Okay, also you can see the black dots here. Okay, so what these are doing, they are like tally. Okay, we are maintaining how many times bread has appeared and how many times milk has appeared so far. So this is a single basket in which bread appeared once and milk appeared once, so we have put 1 dot for both of these items. Okay, so this was the first step. Maybe things are not clear completely as of now, but as we'll add more baskets, it will get more clear. Okay, next what we are doing on our basket 2 here, as you can see, has 3 items: bread, egg and milk. Okay, and frequency of bread is 7, frequency of egg is 5, and frequency of milk is 4. So we will add elements in this order only. Bread will be 1, egg second, and milk 3. Okay, so as you know, this is the tree which already existed. Okay, if we look at the previous, we had null, bread and milk. Okay, now what we did, we started from null again, then we looked at the first item which we had to insert. It is bread in our case because it is the most frequent item. Okay, so since bread already existed, we did not add it again, we just continued down here, and since bread appeared again, we put the second dot here. This was the first dot we put here. Now bread is has appeared second time, we are putting another dot here. Okay, now next element to add is egg. So as you can see here, after bread there is no egg. Okay, there is no child by the name egg, or you can say sub node by the name egg. Okay, or containing the value egg. So we created another node here after this by the name egg. Okay, and since egg is appearing for the first time, we put 1 dot here. Okay, now we are adding every node in a, you know, proper chain fashion. Okay, since our next element is milk, we are not going to just put another dot here. No, we are not going to do that. We have to follow the entire chain, starting from the most frequent element which was bread, then to the next frequent item, and so on. Okay, now this is the chain for the basket: to bread, egg, and finally milk, which is third most frequent. Okay, and as you can see here, first dot for milk was inserted here, as you can see in step 3, or in which we were adding basket 1. Okay, but we are not adding another dot here, but here only against the new node of milk which was created. Okay, so as you can see, this chain is for basket 2, and similarly this was for basket 1. Okay, because it contains only those items which were bought in basket 1, and this branch here contains all the items which were bought in basket 2. Okay, now let's look at step 3. So as you know, this was added in step 1, this was added in step 2. Now let's look at the items of basket 3. So we have bread, which is the most frequent, then egg, which is the second most frequent with frequency 5. Then we have butter and biscuit, so 2 2. Okay, but since in this ordering we have biscuit before butter, so our order will be 1 2 3 and 4. Okay, so let's start adding from the most frequent item, which is bread. So bread is already there. What we do, we will add another dot here telling that there was another basket or visit of for bread found. Okay, then next is egg. As you know, egg is already there. After bread we are continue, and again for the egg we added another dot here. So here egg had only one dot, here it has two dot. Okay, now egg is also added. Then we will look if biscuit, which is the third item, exists or not. And as you can see in this part, after egg we only had milk and no other element. Okay, so we added another branch here, another node here with biscuit, and setting its frequency as 1. And after biscuit we have butter, so we added another child butter and added its frequency as 1. Okay, so this chain here, this one entire chain here represents our basket 3. Okay, and these were the elements shopped in this basket, and it contains starts with most frequent item in this basket: bread, then next frequent egg, biscuit, and butter, which is the least frequent in our entire data set. Okay, so let's move on. So as you in this example, we have bread, which will be added first, then we have milk, which will be added second, then oh my bad, egg, which have frequency 5 and will be added second, then we have milk with frequency 4 and added will be added at 3, and then finally we have biscuit with frequency 2 and added at fourth or at the last. So starting from bread again, we added another dot here, then we went to egg, we added another dot here, then we are looking for milk, and we from here went to milk, added another dot here, and finally to biscuit. So after milk, as you can see in this branch here, we had no element after milk. Okay, so we created one for biscuit. So we added frequency of 1 against the biscuit. So again, these were the element bought in basket 4: bread, egg, milk, and biscuit. Okay, so let's move on. Similarly, next is bread and butter. So bread is most frequent, and after that there was no element butter or node with butter. So we added a new branch here, or new node after bread. Okay, we added one to the bread, and we also added one to butter. In next step, we are going to add item basket 6, which have bread, egg, and milk. So this branch is already there. We have bread, then we have milk, and we have bread, egg, and then finally we have milk. Okay, so we will stop here. We will just add the one dot in each one of those. Okay, so this set of dots represent milk has been found in 3 transactions, egg has been found in 4 transactions, and bread has been found in 6 transactions. Okay, so this is the chain for basket 6. Okay, then let's go to basket 7, the last basket, in which we have bread and egg. This is the most frequent with 7, and this is second most frequent with 5. So after bread we already have a branch containing egg. Okay, so we are not going to create any new branch or no new nodes. We are just going to add one frequency to bread and one to egg. Okay, so that is all. That is how we keep on adding the baskets. And this simple structure here, as you can see here, this tree here contains all this entire basket table or transactions data. It has been compressed and can be represented by a single tree. Okay, so that is how FP growth works. It compresses all the transaction data into a simple tree based structure. Okay, now if we have to look for any transaction, we can start with null or root, and we can iterate over everything. We can iterate over the branches. Okay, so next I've just mentioned the frequency. So as you can see in the data, we had bread 7 times, and also we are getting 7 dots here. Milk we had 4 times. Okay, so 1 plus 3, so in total we have milk 4 times. Similarly, egg had we had egg 5 times, so all are clustered here. We have 5 times eggs. Biscuit 2 times, so 1 you can find here and 1 you can find here, so in total 2 times. Similarly for butter, 1 here and 1 here, so in total 2 times. So this data set contains all the information, how many times each element was, item was bought in total. Okay, next so now we have just created the tree. We have just represented the transaction data in a simpler manner. We have yet not created any trees. Okay, I mean, we have not yet created any frequent item sets. So we will look in frequent steps how to do that. Okay, so first thing to note here, or all our item sets we are creating should have minimum support of 2. Okay, this parameter here is not a mandate. You can have 3, 4, 5, any number, but in our case we are going to set the minimum support as 2. Okay, so by this we mean that at least 2 times a particular item set should appear in the transaction data set, otherwise we are not calling it a frequent item set. Okay, so as you can see here, biscuit and butter, let's take support greater than 2. Okay, not equal to, just greater than. Okay, so as you can see here, biscuit and butter are appearing only twice, and since our support I will call it as minimum or minimum of 3. Okay, let's go with 3 in this case. So since it has only 2 support, we are not going to expand this, or we will not going to call these frequent item sets, and neither we will call their superset or any set which contain either biscuit or butter frequent item set. So in short, we are not even going to calculate them or we will not look into these. Okay, also one more thing to note here, bread, as you can see, it is the most frequent item set. Okay, so if we create any superset, it will in one form or the other will contain bread. Okay, so we are not separately we are not going to create any supersets of bread. Why? For example, egg is appearing 5 times. Okay, so bread in some superset of egg, bread will also contain along with it. Okay, so we are going to make pairs automatically for bread, and hence to avoid duplicacy, we are not going to create the item sets for bread. Okay, so you will look how it may lead to duplicacy in the subsequent steps. Okay, so next, moving on. So here we are only left with egg and milk. So we are only going to look at egg and milk and create our frequent item sets. Okay, so first let's look at for egg. So as you can see, we have three things here: a conditional pattern base, conditional FP tree, and finally frequent pattern base. Okay, so let's look at them one by one. First, free conditional pattern base or branches. Okay, so what we are going to do, since we are creating it for generating the item sets for egg, we are going to look at all the branches which lead to egg. Okay, so let's start with root and mark all the branches which start with egg. Okay, so we have bread. Next, here we have egg. Okay, so this is the one path which leads us to egg. Okay, but as you can see, we don't have any other place, we don't have egg. Okay, so this is the only path, or this is the only branch which is leading to egg. Okay, and we are going to put there all the uh, items which were on that path leading to egg. Okay, so as you can see here, we had only one item which was on this path to egg, and it was bread. Okay, and what was the frequency at this step of egg? 5. Okay, so let's look at for milk. If we were looking for milk, this step would have lead to frequency of milk 1. Okay, but in our case, we egg has frequency of 5 at this step. Okay, so we will put bread and also the frequency we found for egg, which is 5. Okay, so this is only it only contains a single branch, so that is the only value. Next, we have just copied it here. Reason being, you will see in another example, next example, what we do to reach this step. But for now, uh, just think that we have copied that. But since our support is 3, okay, so when we are copying the items from here to here, we should make sure that support is met, or minimum support threshold is met, which is 3, and definitely it is 5 is greater than 3, it matches. Okay, next what we are going to do from here to here, we are going to create all the combinations with our item here, which we are looking at, and also with all the items here in conditional FP tree. So since we have only one item here and one here, there could be only one possible case, which is bread or an egg with frequency 5. So we have put it here. Okay, so it may not be clear 100% at this step, but let's look at another example when we are creating the branches, or we are expanding the milk item set. So let's look at first at this. Let's look at all the branches which lead to milk. Okay. So as you can see, let me pick a color. So as you can see, this is the branch 1, first branch which lead to milk, and it has nodes in it path only 1 bread, and the frequency of milk at this step is 1. Okay, so as you can see, path leading to milk, path 1 leading to milk is contains only bread, and the frequency of milk at that point is 1. So we put one set here containing bread and the frequency. Okay, now look at if there are any other path for milk leading to milk, and yes, there is one more path which starts from bread, goes to egg, and then finally stops or reaches milk. Okay, so this is the second path which leads to milk. okay. And also look at the frequency of milk here, it is 3, right? And what were the items what when we were reaching to milk? One was bread, another was egg, and the frequency of milk is 3, okay. So let's look at another branch here. Bread was bought there, okay. Then egg was bought there, okay, and the frequency of milk was 3. So we have these two conditional pattern basis, okay, or the branches leading to milk, okay. So in previous step we we just copied the items from here to here, okay. But now what we'll also do when copying data from here to here, let's look at bread. So bread is available in both the item sets, it is here also and it is here also, okay. But for egg it is in this second branch, but it is not in first, okay. So we only copy those items from here to here which are available in all the branches, okay. And that parameter or that is a condition is only met by bread, so we are going to copy bread here, and the frequency will be the total frequency of the bread. So 3 times here bread was found, or 1 time here. So this means that on the path from root node null to milk, bread bread appeared 1 time and we had milk of frequency 3. So in total we are putting 4 here, okay. Now we as we saw before, we are going to merge this step here with this. We are going to create all the combination. So there is only one combination of milk and bread, which is bread milk with frequency 4. So we are going to create that as a frequent item set only, okay. So this is how we create a frequent item set using FP growth, okay. So just to give you more clarity, let's imagine we also had egg in this path as well, okay. So we would have another here egg with frequency, let's say 4 again, okay. Frequency 4 again. And now what we'll do while creating a frequent pattern base, we will combine once milk with bread. So we have milk, bread, frequency 4. Another time we will combine milk with egg. So we will have milk, egg with frequency 4. So this is not all, we will create another one containing bread, egg and milk, okay, and frequency 4. But one more example just to give you more clarity. If we had egg as 3, okay, so definitely this will remain 4 because bread and milk combination had 4, a milk and egg had 3, okay. In this set also, instead of 4 now we will keep 3, which is the minimum of this and this, okay, because milk has appeared only 3 times and bread 4 times. So this combination will be like minimum. If we had just we had let's say butter as well, okay, and its frequency was 2. So while creating our last item set, which contains bread, which contains egg, which contains butter and milk, the frequency will be minimum of these 3 values here, which is 2, okay. So this is how we expand our item set. So here also, since we have included butter, so there will be one more milk, butter with frequency 2. So these are all the we are going to create, and since we have only created one last, there will be n combination. So let me just put it here. We have bread, we have egg, okay, we have butter. With milk, there will be one here, milk, bread and milk. We will have egg and milk. Once we will have butter and milk. Okay, next there will be more combination, bread, egg and milk. We will have egg, butter and milk. Also we will have bread, butter and milk. And finally last set will be bread, egg, butter and milk. Okay, so we will create our frequent pattern basis like that. But as we know here, we these groups, these set should have the minimum threshold of support. Okay, and that is how we are reaching here. So since only bread is the one meeting the minimum threshold, we put bread here and skipped egg and butter. Okay, so this is how we just a second. So this is how we create our FP or FP tree and also the frequent item sets. So I've listed down all the frequent item sets. So as we saw here, biscuit and butter, our threshold was, minimum support threshold was 3. Definitely biscuit and butter disqualified, but bread, egg and milk qualified. Okay, so as you can see here in final frequent item set, we have bread, we have egg and milk. Then we have combinations of bread and egg here, which was had the frequency of 5, and another was bread and milk, which had frequency of 4. So as you can see, we have bread and milk and finally bread and egg. So in total we have 5 frequent item sets. Okay, and if you have watched a previous video covering a priori algorithm, these were the sets we arrived at using a priori as well. So these two algorithms give similar results. The only difference apart from the approaches, a priori is really very complex, computationally intensive. Meanwhile, FP growth is much faster. A priori algorithm does not take much space, but because at each step we are iteratively generating the item sets and removing any those which are no longer required. But in FP growth, basically in a priori, we are not making copy of transaction data and there is no additional space required. But in FP growth, we are creating a new data set entirely, which is the tree we created, and tree has some overheads as well. Okay, so that is the difference between the two algorithm, and that is all for today. So hopefully you now have complete understanding of both the algorithms, a priori algorithm and FP growth algorithm. So these two were mainly theoretical lessons. I will create another video in which we will learn how to apply them on real data set using Python. Okay, so I will cover that in next videos. Okay, so that is all for today. Thank you so much for your time, and please do subscribe to my channel, and also ring that bell button there, click on that so that you get the notification next time I launch another video. Okay, thank you, see you next time.